Hey, I'm Emily Cannell. I'm Inc.'s resident Shark Tank expert, and this is Tips from the Tank. Today, I'll be talking about Kodiak Cakes. Kodiak Cakes is an instant pancake mix company. Basically, you just add water and get instant pancakes made from whole grains. They came into Shark Tank seeking $500,000 for 10% of the business. But when they came into the tank, they definitely faced some hardship from the sharks. Joel Clark led the pitch with the fact that his company has been growing year over year by about 50%. So the year before he appeared on Shark Tank, they had $2.5 million in revenue, and the year they were on Shark Tank, they said they were going to get $5 million in revenue. It was a strange episode, honestly. You know, normally when founders come in and they present their company and they show that they've been established and they've grown the company as far as they can without the help of another entrepreneur or funding, the sharks seem really impressed, but this was not the case for Kodiak Cakes. Instead, the sharks were just really focusing on the fact that this company wanted to grow and wanted to continue to compete with other legacy pancake mix brands. But thankfully, Joel and Cameron had come prepared. They clearly knew where the faults in their company were and knew how to defend them to the sharks. They were really smart to anticipate that criticism and be able to defend their company.
We've actually been able to get this product into Target stores nationwide.
Target? Come on.
The first order to Target was about $260,000 order.
That's a sizable order.
It was a huge order.
As is pretty common on Shark Tank, the sharks asked the founders, what they wanted to use this money for. So you're successful, why are you here? What do you need from us? And Joel put it pretty simply. They wanted to use that money to buy more space on shelves and get into more stores. This is one of the tougher pitches I've seen on Shark Tank, not because the founders weren't prepared, but because they were, and they were giving great defensive answers to the sharks' questions, and they were just getting shot down. The sharks really weren't pleased with the fact that they wanted to use this funding to buy more shelf space and really attacked the founders over that, and they just came back and said,
we want to spend a huge chunk of that on slotting fees. That's like buying your way into the store, which we generate a return on in 10 to 20
Explain to everybody what a
weeks.
slotting fee is.
You're buying shelf space.
Yeah, you're paying an upfront fee to get your shelf space.
Despite the fact that the sharks weren't really interested in seeing the business go this way, they eventually started making some offers, which were all awful.
You have a lot of work ahead of you. And for that ride, I'd wanted a new risk premium, 50% of the business.
After these offers came in, the founders didn't counter, which is very rare on Shark Tank. Normally you'll see a counter or a back and forth a little bit, but they looked like they were kind of defeated.
We do appreciate the offers, we appreciate the interest, but we feel the value is way beyond what you've said. We really do. So we need to decline the offers.
Seriously? You're turning down $500,000?
Yeah, we're gonna turn it down, but we really appreciate it. We really do.
There's 3 takeaways from this episode. Number 1 is come prepared. The founders knew what holes they had in the company or what the sharks would sort of pick at, and they had really good responses for them, and they backed it up with numbers. They knew that the sharks would talk about their competitors, and they weren't shying away from that. They were ready to talk about how they would go up against them in the market or on the store shelves. The second takeaway is stand your ground. The founders knew probably what the sharks would have criticisms about. They knew that going up against legacy brands would be challenging, but they showed the sharks that their business method was working for them now. It had worked for them in the past, and they had grown exponentially since then. So even though the sharks didn't agree with how they were doing their business, they proved them that it was working for them and it's working really well. The last takeaway is defend your valuation. Throughout the whole pitch, the sharks were very eager to bring the valuation down.
I'll tell you what your company's worth today, and I'm right. It's worth $2 million, okay?
And the founders just weren't having it. They respectfully heard every criticism that the sharks gave to them. They respectfully heard all the offers, even though they were terrible, and then they told the sharks, no thank you. They didn't want to give up that much of their business, or they didn't think that their company was worth so little. This is a rare case on Shark Tank where not taking a deal actually worked out really well for the founders. They told the sharks that they wanted to see their company grow to $20 or $30 million in revenue in the next 4 years. In 2017, Kodiak Cakes was on our Inc. 5000 list, and we learned that they made more than $54 million in revenue that year, which is an incredible growth for that company. So it turns out that not taking a deal really worked out well for them. I'm Emily Cannell, that was Tips from the Tank, and remember, don't get intimidated on Shark Tank, stand your ground.